Warning, this radio program has been rated R for ridiculous. All listeners must be accompanied by their spirit guides.
You're listening to Haunted Voices Radio.
This is Lisa Williams, and you're listening to Haunted Voices Radio with Todd Bates.
This is paranormal researcher Gavin Goska, and you're listening to Haunted Voices Radio on the Haunted Voices Radio Network.
This is Joshua P. Warren with Speaking of Strange, and you are listening to none other than Todd Bates on Haunted Voices Radio.
This is Matthew Schultz from Para Explorer Project aboard the Haunted Queen Mary. Leave your closed mind at the door. You have entered Paranormally Entertaining Radio. Haunted Voices with Todd Bates and Phil Roll.
Symptoms of regular listening include developing a succubus complex, if male, loose bowels in high EMF environments, daytime old hag syndrome, throwing objects back at poltergeists, visitations from dead relatives collecting outstanding debts, unwanted or wanted sexual advances from unseen hands, volunteering for alien anal probing. Consult your physician before starting any paranormal program.
Welcome to Haunted Voices Radio. Haunted Voices Radio brings you education, comedy, and information from top instructors, authors, and performers in the field of the paranormal. Join Todd and Phil each week to discover tricks of the trade that will help you to develop your craft and prosper as a paranormal investigator. It has never been easier to listen and interact from the privacy of your own home. This is truly a program you won't find anywhere else. Now, here are the hosts of Haunted Voices Radio, Todd Bates and Phil Roll.
From the land beyond, from the world past hope and fear.
And a good evening, one and all. Haunted Voices Radio live. Yes, live. On this wonderful June the 6th, 2017. Phil has the night off. I'll tell you what, I don't know. He gave me a call, said something about some correspondence course at the Walmart to become a Tibetan monk. He's out there looking for work. He said he thinks it'll look good on a resume. He'll be back next week. He'll inform us. I don't know. Phil's got some problems. It's okay. You got to love him, though. No, we've got a great show planned here for you tonight. Returning guest, 2-hour special with Sonja Grace, author, mystic, healer. A lot of great stuff coming up here. We're going to get her on here in a few minutes. But what you need to do right now, get into chat. HauntedVoices.com. That's where you go. Click on the live chat button. Log right in there through Facebook, Twitter, as a guest. Doesn't matter. Just get in there. Post your questions, comments, concerns. Beverly will get them over here to us. And a lot of you were kind of confused with the time change. I understand that was a quick process here. Hey, work comes first, folks. You got to do what you got to do. The new time, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 6 Pacific. And I do want to announce something here. We are looking for a chat room moderator. Now, it just got a little bit too late in Cindy's schedule. Nothing happened with her. She's a sweetheart. Just got a little bit too late in her schedule. So if you're interested, you want to, you're going to field questions to Phil and I, have fun with the chatters in there. It's a real fun job. I mean, everybody loves that. You post some information and things in there in the chat room. If you're interested in the volunteer position, email Beverly. Producer@hauntedvoices.com. Producer@hauntedvoices.com. We'll get you all trained up, ready to go. You can have some fun here. You just have to be here Tuesday nights, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 6 Pacific. And don't worry, one day you'll make trillions of dollars at it. Yeah. No, but it is going to be a great show here tonight. And, of course, we got some pretty wicked news here we're going to get to in a second. Some of these stories are crazy. You're going to love one of them this week. It's actual, the Mothman coming up. But what I do want to announce, you've got 1 week left to get your review in for the iTunes gift card contest. Now, what we need from you is a completely honest review on our iTunes. Now, all you have to do, Windows, Apple, doesn't matter. You can go to iTunes, search Haunted Voices Radio, hit subscribe, listen to one of the episodes if you haven't. Give an honest review. It could be 1 star, 5 star. It doesn't matter. As long as it's honest. That's what's important. Trust me, we can take it. We're big boys. We've been doing this many, many years. So the time is going to be, we're going to announce that winner on June the 20th. And we'll announce the winner of the $50 gift card there. Got a great review in there. There's one I'm looking at there on there now. If you guys want to check out the reviews. That was a nice review we got in the other day. Very, very cool stuff. I guess he found us on Twitter. That Twitter thing, that's kind of crazy. And we're at HVR Host over there if you want to check that out. We have a lot of fun on the Twitter thing. To me, it's a lot more fun than Facebook. The whole Facebook fan page thing, no. No, we don't do anything with that anymore. So if you don't see any activity there, that's why. Because, well, Facebook sucks. But anyway, the time is also running out to be a part of the new Haunted Voices magazine. That's going to be coming out, the first issue. We're looking at maybe mid-July, end of July, and that's going to be free of charge. You'll be able to upload that right there at hauntedvoices.com in PDF format. It'll be a lot of fun there. So what we're doing is we're looking for some reader experiences as well as any book reviews. Now, I know you folks have your opinions. This is the place to get them out there. Now, if you're interested in having something in the magazine or you think you know somebody that would, email Beverly, producer@hauntedvoices.com. That's producer@hauntedvoices.com. So we're looking at a publication on the website around August 1st. That's the tentative date, August 1st. All right. Paranormal news. Now, we do this every week. It's a lot of fun. Now, some of these are far-fetched. Do you believe them? Do you not believe them? The ones this week, they actually make sense. They really do. Even this Bigfoot one, this is kind of creepy here. What we have, an Australian town. Now, see, there's other places here in the States that get a little wonky. Now, this is actually news from Coast to Coast AM. So, yeah, where he says it, you know it's true. But the Australian community in Jockensleigh, Australia, has been a town of legends, ghost roaming the streets, stomping the ground of the Yowie, they call it there. The Yowie, it's their version of Bigfoot. And now the community has gathered in the hopes of getting rid of the town's reputation for being haunted. But how does Bigfoot and haunted, to me that doesn't make sense, and having strange creature encounters. So apparently the town's haunted on top of it. But since the stories have become so well known, the town gets very few visitors. It kind of killed tourism there. Yeah, the way they can't have their Vegemite sandwiches, they're not selling as many of them. And if someone doesn't visit, they won't. If someone does visit, they won't stay the entire night. They'll leave before nightfall. Now, because of these legends, a group of over 200 people in the town gathered together and took a nearly 2-mile night walk through the town, which has a reputation of being the most haunted area, to show that it isn't as frightening as people believe. Now, although nothing had been encountered on their walk, there were people who showed apprehension when walking in the location. That's common sense. Now, this would be, and this is hilarious, this would kill me. This would be the first ghost hunt where participants didn't want to find any ghosts. Now, they're trying to bring some tourism back. Now, this one here, this kind of gets up there, the whole 60 Minutes, little Business Times news here. Bigelow, I don't know if you guys saw his interview there on 60 Minutes. Time to put up or shut up. Now, this is kind of cool, though. This makes you think. So I want you guys to put on your thinking caps here. During a recent interview on 60 Minutes, Bigelow Aerospace President Robert Bigelow actually claimed he was convinced that there is an ET presence. Now, his belief in UFOs and extraterrestrial phenomenon has stemmed since his grandparents reported their own encounter of seeing, a UFO. But his belief isn't just from the family experience. Now, he has spent, get this, millions and millions and millions on the subject of UFO. He collected hotline reports of sightings and even, I love this, even involved in a small scandal in the UFO community by allegedly buying Mutual UFO Network case files. That's MUFON for those of you folks that Don't know about that. From an inside source. I love that. This guy went to the extent of buying case files, for crying out loud. Now he's bought physical evidence of UFOs, of course, and what the FAA submits, any reported sightings to Bigelow Aerospace. But although he hasn't shared anything that he's found, he certainly doesn't care if any risk is involved with his statements. Now, during the interview, he hints at big secrets. People believe that Bigelow now has a chance to make a difference in the UFO community. I hope somebody does, by providing the public with the information he believes shows that UFOs exist. Now, see, that's amazing. That's something that can actually help the community. You know, I'm not saying there's going to be absolute proof, but when you have that kind of backing, millions and millions and millions, that's being put to some good. Put it to some research. Yeah, let us know in chat. Do you agree with Bigelow's doing? Yes or no? Do you agree with what he's doing out there, even buying case files from MUFON? I say whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Now, this one here. This one's going to make you kind of cringe a little bit. Now, when I read this, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the Mothman. You've heard of the Mothman, probably the film with Richard Gere, Mothman Prophecies. This is a truck driver observes large bat-like humanoid gliding over Cicero, Illinois. Now, this is the old stomping grounds of Ariel and I. Cicero, we didn't go down there after dark, but now this is according to the website Phantoms and Monsters, recently published an email. Now, this is the actual email that they received from a truck driver in Illinois who claims to have seen a bat-like humanoid gliding over the city. Now, this is the actual email that they posted. Now, it goes to say, "My name is Billy B. I drive a semi with a large carrier company in Chicago. On March 22nd, I was at Rosin's on Cicero Avenue and 290 Expressway in Chicago. I was picking up a load of bread there. I noticed a flying object at around noon in the airspace to the south coming from Midway Airport. Now, the object looked like a man with wings, like Batman," he says. "I thought it was an experimental drone or a secret government military test. After seeing the picture by the Indian statue, that's at 63rd and Pulaski Road in Chicago, Illinois," he says, "I am convinced it was the thing these other folks have seen." He goes on to say, "I have 3 witnesses for that day and a text to prove it happened. I absolutely swear it was the Mothman. The object was gliding over me and disappeared in the clouds. It's very loud by the expressway, and I have no recollection of screaming. Shortly after I saw this thing, he literally had a string of health problems that are documented. He says his eyes were messed up, like the movie and others claim. I have all documentation to prove my story." And what he says here, "I hope I am not considered a freak after this, but this sighting can be proven well before the other sightings were reported. I have nothing to gain by reporting this, so call me if you have any questions." And he says here, "The health issues are very odd and serious. I've had several MRI tests and a lumbar puncture due to the pressure behind my eyes. Now, these issues could be due to some other disease," he says, "that has no diagnosis." So what do you think? What do you think about this report? You guys believe that was the Mothman he witnessed, or no? Let us know in chat, hauntedvoices.com. And of course, if you want to learn more about the bat-like humanoid creature, you're going to get your chance in the first issue of Haunted Voices magazine. A lot of good stuff coming up here. And like I said, these stories, if you guys have anything you want us to report, be sure, send them along. Producer at hauntedvoices.com. We'll get those aired here for you. And what we're going to be having coming up here, Guest Sonja Grace. We're going to be doing a 2-hour special. Now, if you guys remember, we had her on last time. We didn't even scratch the surface on what we're going to discuss. I mean, we're going to be talking about archangels, She's an energy surgeon, all kinds of wicked things that we're going to be discussing here with her. But the beauty of it is your questions, because last time we did cover a lot of different details with her, barely scratched the surface. So what's important is you guys get your questions in there, because we're going to be having her for 2 hours. And we're going to try to get through all the different topics. I don't know if you're familiar with a lot of these. You may want to do some research on them. That's definitely something you'd want to do beforehand, because some of these I'm not familiar with. You know, we're going to be discussing Stonehenge. Some of these things I can't pronounce. I mean, these are Tanaku and Hanger Quim. All these different. I don't know if those are archangels or some kind of mystic thing. That's the thing. We're all going to learn something here with Sonja tonight. But the beauty of it, she's going to be coming on here in just a few minutes. So what we need you to do, we need you to log into chat. Just go to hauntedvoices.com. Click on the live chat button right there. Now, when you click on that button, you can log in through Facebook, Twitter, as a guest. Doesn't matter. Just get your butts in there, because coming up here in just a few minutes, special guest Sonja Grace is going to be joining us, and we also want you to know we're on iHeart. Be sure and check us out. After Hours AM channel, you can find us right there, iHeart. And we've got all the past shows right up there at hauntedvoices.com as well. Just click on the past shows link. You're going to find all those right there. You're listening to Haunted Voices Radio right here, WGOG Digital Broadcasting. We come back, special guest Sonja Grace. Stay tuned.
WGOG DB Clearwater. Haunted, a psychic story by author and radio host Ariel Grace. This is not your average book of hauntings. Haunted, a psychic story is written from a psychic perspective and contains true stories and some handy tips. Written in 3 parts, Haunted, a psychic story contains chilling adventures, advice from the archangels, and helpful tips used by Ariel Grace to clear haunted homes around the globe. Haunted, a psychic story is available on Amazon, or you can download straight to your Kindle. Haunted, a psychic story by Ariel Grace. Get your copy today.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Get lost in the realm of thrilling mystery with the Mojo series by Chris Cedarstein. Follow 6 small-town teenagers who decide to make a ghost hunting documentary and become blindly thrown into a world of haunting chills they were not expecting in Lost Mojo. Or follow college student Scotty Brown, who is aggressively haunted by vivid nightmares and daytime apparitions. As he begins to search for answers, he puts himself and those closest to him face to face with pure evil. Can he defeat these malevolent beings with a small team of paranormal investigators? Find out in her second title, Mojo. The Mojo series is available on paperback or digital download on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and wherever books are sold. The Mojo series by Chris Cedarstein. Get your copies today if you've got the Mojo.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
It's Meals on Wheels. 1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cold time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
"20 minutes past the hour, Haunted Voices Radio Live, right here, WGOG Digital Broadcasting." Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Now, what we want to do, we want to know your opinions from that news earlier, so post them right there in chat. That's where you want to go, hauntedvoices.com. Log in there, live chat, log in through Facebook, Twitter as a guest. Now, those of you tuning in, don't worry. We've got you covered here. You can listen to all the past programs. You can find everything right there, hauntedvoices.com. Of course, subscribe to us on iTunes. Listen to us on iHeartRadio under the After Hours AM channel. All of that is located right there on the website. And also, want to let you know that next week we're going to be talking with Harold Roth. He's a practicing witch, and during the second hour, we're going to be having the Pennsylvania ghost group, Gettysburg Ghost Gals, right here on Haunted Voices. Again, at the new time, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. Right now, of course, we're going to be talking with Sonja Grace. Now, we've had Sonja on here before. She's a returning guest. Amazing. We barely scratched the surface. She's a mystic healer, author, all around amazing, fantastic woman. So you're definitely going to have some questions there. Post them in chat, all capital letters. We'll get them to Sonja as soon as possible. Welcome back to Haunted Voices Radio, Sonja. Great to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here again.
Wow, so many things that we talked about last time. Phil's got the night off. He took some kind of Walmart correspondence course, Sonja, on Tibetan monk. I don't know. He'll be back next week, though. He definitely sends his best to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry he's not here.
Yeah, well, it's kind of nice. Space is good. Now, we barely scratched the surface on everything, and we have a lot of new listeners since then, so we definitely want to get you reintroduced. First of all, let everybody know what a mystic and a healer is.
Well, it's always interesting to brand yourself with a label and say, this is what I am and this is what I do, because everything has meaning to different people. Mystics usually in the past were people who had the ability to see into the future, the past, the present. They were, the ones that people throughout centuries called upon for help with figuring things out.
Okay.
Being a healer, I'm not someone who is very usual in that department, and that is I have been a healer for over 35 years, and I practice and work on people long distance.
Wow.
So I call myself an energy surgeon because I'm literally doing surgeries on people, repairing tissue and working on bones and blood and everything else. So yeah, I'm an energetic healer who works long distance and has the ability to see, hear, feel, smell everything that is unseen, as in the spirit realm. So I have all extra sensory perceptions on, and I've been this way since I was born. I mean, my earliest memory at 2 years old was seeing my guides, and they were helping me move my crib across the floor so my mom would come and get me.
Wow.
Yeah, that was fun. And yeah, she still tells me the story today, like, you know, she remembers it so well. Of course, it was just a few years ago, right?
Oh, of course, yeah, just a couple of years ago, if I remember right.
So you know, I've been this way. My whole childhood was filled with, you know, wild things happening, like playing with the Davic realm, the spirits of the trees and the plants out in the woods, and seeing all the you know, ghosts of relatives and people in the neighborhood. And you know, at 12, I watched the whole spirit realm walk through my bedroom, and you know, that was definitely a life changer.
So,
and then, you know, as I progressed and you know, moved towards my adult life, luckily, when I was 5 years old, my mom had put me in classical ballet training, and that was the smartest thing she could have done, because it really helped ground me, and it helped me to learn truly what time and space is, what it means, and what it means to move through time and space. And I went on and had a professional career as a classical ballerina, and was with the Oregon Shakespeare Festival for 10 years. And through all of that time, I learned how to work with time, and thus, you know, became, through my development, a time traveler. And that's what prompted me to write the book Spirit Traveler.
Yes.
I call it spirit traveling. Yes.
No, I mean, absolutely. How everything led up to that. This is amazing. Now, you were born with these abilities. I mean, do you feel everybody's born with these abilities, Sonja?
You know, I was the fourth child, all girls, growing up on a farm, and you know, I mean, my life was magical for all purpose. You know, that you know, we had cows and chickens and a donkey named Valentine, and you know, I mean, we had this great farm, and it was country living. And yeah, there were hard things that happened. You know, there was the October 12th storm when, you know, all of the Portland area got hit really hard, and we had to put the donkey down. And you know, I mean, there's things that you go through when you live on a farm that teach you about life and death. And you know, I had a really magical childhood in that I was allowed to be close to the earth. I lived on the earth. I went to the woods every day and played, and I connected with the devas and the tree spirits and everything. So for that, you know, it was a blessing, because it helped me deal with the gifts that I have. I mean, I remember putting my hands on our dog when I was 5 years old and doing a healing on the dog. Well, who knows that at 5 years old?
No,
you know?
and these things came natural. That's what I want to get into, the whole energy surgeon. I told you last time, I love that. I love that name. That actually suits it very, very well. Now, does this, the way that works, I mean, I'm going to try to see if I understand it correctly. Is it that spirit works through you, or something works through you, or how does this work? Not only, you know, hands on, but also remotely. How does that whole process work?
Well, for me, because I'm sure it's different for different people and different practitioners, but for me, I literally experience spirit traveling when I have clients. I have clients all over the world. I just worked on somebody in England today. I worked on 2 people in Australia yesterday. You know, it's like people are all over the world. I literally have the experience of putting myself in front of that person. And I'm I'm in front of them working on them. Many people who are sensitive enough to feel that have said to me, wow, your energy is so gentle in comparison to other people who have, done whatever kind of energy work on me, and it was very rough and, aggressive and intense. But I apparently, probably due to my dance training, I tiptoe in.
Wow! So
and I have a light presence when I'm there. But I literally work on people like if you saw me sitting in my office, my hands are moving. I'm working like a surgeon. I'm reaching in. I'm repairing the lesion in the liver, whatever it is I'm working on. I'm using my hands. And I'm simply, with that ability to time travel, I'm putting myself, in front of the other person.
That is amazing. So your energy is literally traveling through time and space over there into the physical world, and you're conducting energy surgery on this individual. That is amazing. To be right there in front, have the energy.
Yeah, the thing I always compare it to, which I have been compared to John of God, is people go all the way to Brazil to see John of God, and he does surgery on people, using spoons and various things. I mean, he's an amazing human being, but he also has these beings, doctors and various help that work through him. The only thing that works through me is the divine. I am connecting always with Creator, God, and the Goddess, the Earth, and that energy, the Earth energy rises up through the feet, Creator, God's energy coming down through the top of the head, and that is truly the divine energy that's working through me. Is this all me? Well, of course not. I work with angels, and I ask that I'm always in alignment with the will of God and the Goddess.
Well,
yeah.
If you don't mind, I know the audience does. I know I do. We love great stories. Can you tell us some amazing healing experiences? Can you share some of those with us?
Sure. I just worked on somebody. Gosh, I had this client the other day who had a really bad shoulder, and I went in and basically did a little surgery on the rotator cuff, and I got an email the next day, and they had full range of motion in their shoulder, and they could move their arm, they had full range, and it wasn't hurting them. And I've got other clients who have bad knees. I go in and repair the meniscus and put cushion in between the bones, and do some work on the ACL, and bing bang boom, they're walking fine and they feel great. And the thing that we don't realize sometimes is that we have to take our bodies into the shop, much like we take our cars in, and get that 100,000 mile checkup, because we are hard on our bodies. We do wear and tear our knees and our backs and everything else quite a bit. But yeah, I've had some really amazing healings with clients. One gal, I don't know if I told this story when I was on your show last time. She was in Puerto Rico. Did I tell this story?
No.
She was in Puerto Rico, and she doesn't speak any English. And by the way, to your listeners, when I do a clearing and healing session, I don't even talk to the person. I've never even talked to the person. I get a photograph of that person and a list of ailments. And so her son contacted me and said, hey, my mom lives in Puerto Rico. She doesn't speak any English, but she needs your help. She's, really sick. Something's wrong. And so I went to work on her, and before I went to her, I had some kind of oil that I put on my arms, like a scented oil. And I went into her house, now I'm in Puerto Rico, I'm in her house, and I start working on her and clearing, I cleared all this stuff off of her. One area of expertise that I have is that I'm able to clear entities and all things alien and all that kind of stuff. So I cleared all this stuff off of her, and then I started working on her. This woman had not been able to get out of bed. She had not done the dishes. She had not been able to move. She was completely, out of it. And so once I got her all, worked on and connected all this stuff in her body, she wrote her son, and she said, I saw this woman come into the room, and I smelled this beautiful fragrance. And I watched her work on me. She was very sensitive.
Wow.
And she said, I watched her work on me. And she said, after she was done, I got out of bed and for the first time went into the kitchen and cleaned up all the dishes, did the dishes, and made something to eat because she lost her appetite. She wasn't eating at all. Made something to eat, and then I went back to bed, and I slept for the first time in almost a year for the entire night. And she said she felt completely, better after that.
I've got to ask real quick. I mean, it's, you have all these medical doctors out there pushing pills on people, big pharma, all that stuff. Of course, that's a whole new show in itself. And then you have something like this, energy healing. Now, to me, that makes sense. And, with the medications, you have side effects and so forth. But then you have people, do you run into trust issues? Do you have people sitting there saying, well, look, my doctor says I just need to take this chondroitin and that's going to help with the joints and all of this? Do you run into that, Sonja?
Honestly, I think I always say I think I've heard it all, and then somebody surprises me like, oh, yeah, okay, I haven't heard that. But I've heard quite a bit, and I do have people who are, for example, let's say they're dealing with cancer and they're currently undergoing chemo, and they want me to work on them. I have to be really careful in that situation because I'm in their field. I start feeling the chemo myself. And yes, I protect myself. I've been doing this for 35 years. I know all about protection. But some drugs are very, very potent, and so I have to work carefully around that. For some people, they call me and say, well, I just found out I have stage 4 cancer, and I don't want conventional treatment. I want you to heal me. And I always say, oh, no pressure, okay?
That's a tall order.
Right? So, I love it when people wait to the last minute, like, okay, so-and-so's dying, can you bring them back? And it's like, wow. Really, I mean, I can't say this enough, and I hope the listeners really appreciate this when I say this. It's God's will. It's not my will. It's God's will, and I am simply an instrument to help this process go either smoothly because they're going to transition or they're going to start to feel better and they're going to make a recovery. So with different illnesses, I am the first one to say, you need to go see a doctor. Because believe me, Western medicine is good for a lot of things. And I work with a lot of doctors. But if it's something where I feel like maybe Eastern medicine is better, I will say to that person, go get acupuncture, go see a naturopath. But don't close the door on all of these possibilities that could make you better.
Yeah, and see, in the past, I didn't even think of this kind of healing. I didn't know what Reiki was or anything like that. Of course, I met somebody that changed everything, and what it does, it makes sense to me. These have been around. These methods have been around for thousands of years, and just like you said, it's the will of the higher power, basically.
Right.
Whether you believe in it or not, there's.
Well, like when I work on family or friends of mine on the reservation, it's like Native people, they'll go to a medicine woman or medicine man, and I am considered a medicine woman on the res.
You better be.
They'll come to me first before they go to a doctor because that's their belief system. And so the openness and the availability for me to really implement healing is there. But if I get a person who's my sister told me to call you, and I'm dealing with this cancer, and I don't know, and blah blah blah, and there's sort of this resistance, like, okay, first of all, I don't believe in miracles, and I don't know if you can help me. Then I've got this firewall called the ego that I have to make my way through.
That's rough.
And implement healing. Yeah. So it takes a lot of trust, and it takes a lot of faith for people to understand how these things work. And, most people, honestly, who I talk to, don't have a lot of either. You know, there's trust issues and there's faith issues.
And
you know, well, where was God when this happened to me back in 1980? You know.
Yeah, they start to point the blame, and they, you know, you can't lay there like a sack of potatoes and expect this to work. You have to be open to it, right?
Well, exactly, and that brings up a really good point, and that is, we are in the fifth dimension now. We moved into the fifth dimension when we shifted out of the Mayan calendar. When the Mayan calendar came to a close, that was the big, okay, we're moving into a whole new dimension. We've not done this before. We've all been here during the fourth dimension. We all came to Earth the first time during Atlantis and Lemuria in the fourth dimension. So what's happening right now is like totally new territory. We are literally pioneers in, you know, without the covered wagons. We're pioneering a whole new energy. And these two roles that have worked so well in the fourth dimension, being the victim or the perpetrator, which we've all played both roles in many, many lifetimes, it's not working anymore. And we're finding ourselves going, wow, if I don't take responsibility for this, I'll bet this is just going to happen to me again. Or there's the unconscious version of that, which is, how could they do this to me? I'm still a victim.
Wow.
See, so we're, God, I mean, you know, your mind can explode on that one because of all the different layers of victimization that take place and all the different layers of perpetrator or bully that take place. And that we really are experiencing these two roles, you know, coming to an end.
And that kind of change, you know, skipping off in the fifth dimension like that definitely explains Phil's sudden interest in becoming a Tibetan monk through a Walmart correspondence course. I mean, he'll be back next week, though. He'll explain that. But no, I mean, there's we got to skip off here for a few minutes and just a few. Okay. But first, I want you to go ahead and let the audience know. I mean, your website, sonjagrace.com. That's with a J, by the way, SONJA Grace.
SONJA, yeah. And please, while you're there, sign up for my free once-a-week Earth Angel message. It's fun.
And let them know about the book, because we're going to be touching on this week. I'm back a little bit, of course. Spirit Traveler.
My new book, Spirit Traveler. It's published by Findhorn Press, and it's on my website, or you can go to Amazon too and get it.
And no, go ahead. Go right ahead, Sonja.
I was going to say your listeners might also be interested in my other book called Become an Earth Angel, Advice and Wisdom for Finding Your Wings and Living in Service. For those of you who are really looking to live your life in service and sort of be of purpose, what's my purpose, this is definitely the book for you.
And more of that when we come back. Of course, our returning guest, 2-hour special with Sonja Grace. When we come back, we're going to be talking more about Spirit Traveler. What is it? We're also going to get into Stonehenge, all kinds of great things, and more about her healing. Everything coming up here. Log in to chat, hauntedvoices.com. That's the place to be. Get in there. Live chat rooms open. Of course, you're listening to Haunted Voices Radio Live right here, WGOG Digital Broadcasting. We'll be right back.
WGOG DB Clearwater. Haunted, a psychic story by author and radio host Ariel Grace. This is not your average book of hauntings. Haunted, a psychic story is written from a psychic perspective and contains true stories and some handy tips. Written in 3 parts, Haunted, a psychic story contains chilling adventures, advice from the archangels, and helpful tips used by Ariel Grace to clear haunted homes around the globe. Haunted, a psychic story is available on Amazon, or you can download straight to your Kindle. Haunted, a psychic story by Ariel Grace. Get your copy today. The metaphysical. What is it? Are there universal influences assisting us in our daily lives?
Stop counting. Stop counting the bad stuff and stop counting the good stuff, because if you're trying to weigh it out, that's being conditional, and we'll be talking more about conditional love.
Of course. Join your host, Ariel Grace, live Sunday nights, 8, 7 Central, on A Gang of Girls Radio.
People mistake this for setting up boundaries and stuff like that, but it's that scale of, well, if he loves me, he's going to
find answers to relationship issues, your past and future, and some helpful tips on ways you can clear those nasty goo and cooties which interfere with your daily life.
We set aside all of our kind of maybe goo and cooties.
If you're confused and need insight,
express our love for each other,
then look no further than A Gang of Girls radio show with host Ariel Grace. Live Sunday nights, 8, 7 Central at agangofgirls.com.
Join parents and experts at Understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues designed to help you help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything. Brought to you by Understood.org and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. You know, I help people solve difficult problems every day, but one problem has me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. Luckily, the Feeding America network of local food banks collects surplus food, giving hope to hungry children and their families. But they need your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
$47 minutes past the hour. 44 minutes past the hour. Kind of went 5 minutes early. You'll understand that here in a few. You're listening to Haunted Voices Radio right here, WGOG Digital Broadcasting. And again, those of you just joining us, we're speaking with special guest, returning guest, author, mystic, and healer, Sonja Grace is joining us. Be sure and check out her website, sonjagrace.com. That's with a J, Sonja, grace.com. You can find that website and all the other information posted right there in the live chat room, hauntedvoices.com. Just click on the live chat, log in through Facebook, Twitter as a guest. Post your questions in there, too, all capital letters. You're going to be having some of those because Sonja, we discussed some great things with her last time. We just scratched the surface, and we're going to be digging just a little bit deeper here. And if you guys just joining us and you don't hear Phil, like I said, he took advantage of the Walmart correspondence course. He's in there trying to become a Tibetan monk, I believe. He said he wants it to look good on his resume. He's looking for some new work. He's going to be back next week. He'll tell us all about it, so don't worry about all that good stuff. Welcome back to the show, Sonja. Now, before we went to break, we were talking about the fifth dimension. Now, I think it's important to explain the dimensions to the audience. Now, I'm sure a lot of them understand what they are. Some of them may not. It may throw them off for a loop, may throw them off in the fifth dimension itself. So go ahead and explain to them the dimension levels, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, there's many dimensions, but what we know here on Earth is that the Earth has gone through 1 through 4. The first dimension, of course, being very dense and very much that, time when the Earth was forming, shaping, and everything was getting created in this solar system. The second dimension is where Earth naturally sits. It's sort of in that vibration of explosions and movement and, real disruptive kind of energy. And then the Earth moved into that third dimension, which is more when people and, different factions of humans started getting into, wow, there's more people here than us. Oh, yeah, look, we're going to war with these guys. No, I think we'll communicate with these guys. It's like the third dimension was sort of a time for defining power, how the power was and who is in power. And then, of course, at the end of Atlantis and Lemuria, we moved into the fourth dimension, which, of course, relates to and reflects the fourth chakra, which is love. So we all know the fourth dimension in terms of history, and that is that up through the Dark Ages and the Middle Ages and all of these different time periods that we're aware of and we have stories about, much of it was developed around love. You know, there was the wars that were fought because of women. There was William Shakespeare. There was the 60s. There's all of these, you know, different markers through the fourth dimension that remind us that we're really in this place that is experiencing love. But you know, speaking of the earth and the time prior, so much of that energy coming from the third dimension was about power struggles. So that was already in place. So you have all these wars, and you have the power struggle still going on because it's influenced the fourth dimension. And the fourth dimension is like, but I'm not going to fight you. I'm in love. And okay, well, we're going to fight now because you're in love, and we're going to make sure that we, have a big war over something that had to do with, someone being in love with someone else. And this is common throughout history during this fourth dimension. Well, now we've moved into the fifth, which I told the listeners is kind of like we're all pioneers again, and we're pioneering a whole new energy. And the fifth dimension is more related to the throat chakra, which everyone can relate to this. It's about communication. It's about speaking. It's about telepathy. It's about being connected to people beyond words. It's a much higher vibration. And this fifth dimension and this higher vibration is something that a lot of people are struggling to be in because they're used to the old ways and they want to do things in the old way. But it doesn't work anymore. It's not working for them. And so they don't have a job. They can't get a job. It's not working. And it's because in this fifth dimension, we really should have, and are graduating spiritually, energetically, so that we can put ourselves more in service. Meaning, you're somebody who swings a hammer all day long. You're a carpenter. You're still in service. Your presence, your energy is such that you bring a beautiful thing to the group of people that you're working with, whether you know it or not. You're a person, making coffee at Starbucks. You're bringing your energy to that person's cup of coffee. And if it's mine, I want your energy to be really high. I want you to have that life of living in service because you understand that everybody who comes in there is looking for something that's going to make them feel better. What a better gift than to stand at the counter and say, "Yeah, I'm happy to see you." It's
you don't get that these days unless you're holding a 20.
Well, exactly, and that's where being at service is a really big challenge to people. It takes authenticity. It takes being in your heart. It takes being real and really standing up to, the idea that we are not perfect and we must do the inner work so that we can work through all the karma and all the stuff that we have accumulated through lifetimes. And that's where this fifth dimension is so important, is people really need to do the inner work so that they can be present in this higher vibration. And you and I both have seen many, many people who are not present, and it's because it's discombobulating, really. I mean, if any of you listeners understand what I'm saying, this energy that we're in can really be discombobulating. So we have to, get centered. And that's why people's phones are so great, because it sort of brings them back in. It's like, okay, it's just right in front of my face. I'm back in here. And yet it's not helping people to be present.
No.
It's actually taking you into a whole nother universe.
It is, because, if you think about it, Sonja, I'm sure the listeners are going to agree, mm-hmm. Everybody seems disconnected these days. There's no social, there's no social conversations anymore. Everything's instant gratification. You're correct about being present. Trust me. Mm-hmm. My beautiful fiance, Ariel, she's always on my rear about that. I need to be present. Mm-hmm. And, people are not. They're thinking about what happened yesterday, what's going on tomorrow, and so and so and so forth. And they're not even in their own bodies. So the way you explain the dimensions, that's on a spiritual level, that's a fantastic way to explain it, because that topic can get very deep. When you're getting in the interstellar dimensions, which, they're similar yet completely different. And I like your version. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Carl, okay? May he rest in peace.
I like Carl, too.
May he rest in peace. But that is just way too deep, way too complicated for the average person to understand. You made it very simple, because energy is energy.
Right.
Just like you said.
And our bodies are constantly reflecting the universe back to us. Oh, my God. If you think about the inside of a human body and what it takes to pump the heart and move the blood through and the tissue to change and grow and this and that, the liver to function and the right enzymes, and is it processing everything right? And the stomach and my God, it's like this insane orchestra of energy going on. And that's what's going on in the universe. We've got this black hole over here and this star exploding over here and, these things moving through time. I mean, it's crazy. But if we just, focus on our bodies and the chakras, the energy centers, all of this stuff making the body work and be in the electromagnetic field that we all have, this big energy field, then we can start to recognize, oh, okay, so this is a bit of a reflection of what's going on in the cosmos. And if I take time to go within it and really understand it, I might actually have more understanding of these things like dimensions and realms and what's going on energetically in the cosmos.
Wow. Amazing explanation. And now you folks understand why we have a 2-hour special with Sonja. We love having you on here. A lot of great information and more that's coming up. We get back, we're going to talk about spirit travel. We're going to talk about Stonehenge, some other amazing things. All of that's coming up. But, of course, you're going to hear the latest news right now. And we want to remind you, do you guys have the iHeartRadio app on your smartphone? Then you have full access to Haunted Voices Radio. Now, we've joined the After Hours AM channel to bring you the best in paranormal talk radio. You can also find all the past shows right there, hauntedvoices.com or iTunes. Subscribe to us. You can win that $50 gift card for the Honest Review. That contest winner will be announced June the 20th, right here live. All you have to do is post an Honest Review, iTunes, subscribe, listen, review. You're listening to Haunted Voices Radio right here, WGOG Digital Broadcasting. We'll be right back.
WGOG DB Clearwater.
The Attorney General on the hot seat? I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News. White House officials are tight-lipped over reports that Attorney General Jeff Sessions offered to step down.
They're saying they're simply not commenting on these reports we're hearing that Jeff Sessions at one point offered to resign as Attorney General. The president, the New York Times is reporting, said no, declined to accept that offer of a resignation. Nonetheless, that tension still exists because remember what the president is mad at. He's mad that months ago Jeff Sessions recused himself from the Russia investigation because of his own role in the Trump campaign, and the president believes that led to Robert Mueller being named as special counsel.
Fox's Ed Henry at the White House. President Trump is trying to light a fire under senators concerning health care.
If Congress doesn't act to save Americans from this Democrat-inflicted catastrophe, next year is only going to get worse. It's going to get a lot worse.
The president met with Republican leaders in an effort to move the health care bill forward. Another insurance company pulling the plug on Obamacare.
Anthem Insurance Company's decision to leave Ohio in 2018 will leave the state's Obamacare insurance exchange without any insurance plans in 20 counties. Anthem says setting prices for insurance under the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, is increasingly difficult due to the shrinking individual market and continued changes in federal operations, rules, and guidance.
Fox's Adam Shapiro. Police in suburban Salt Lake City are investigating a shooting outside a home that left 3 people dead, including the gunman. 2 children were wounded. A witness reported hearing 20 to 30 gunshots within a few seconds. The shooting took place about a half mile from an elementary school, which was put on lockdown for a while. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? With ZipRecruiter, you can post your job to 100 plus job sites with just one click. Then their powerful technology efficiently matches the right people to your job better than anyone else. That's why ZipRecruiter is different. Unlike other job sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. In fact, over 80% of jobs posted on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just 24 hours. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Simply screen, rate, and manage candidates all in one place with ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use dashboard. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by businesses of all sizes to find the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, our listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. That's right. Free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/newscast. That's ZipRecruiter.com/newscast. One more time to try it for free. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/newscast.
Another disgruntled passenger may sue United Airlines.
The attorney for a professional violinist says a lawsuit against United Airlines is likely after a scuffle over the woman's instrument. Jennifer Correa says she was heading from Houston to Missouri on Sunday for a symphony rehearsal when an airline supervisor refused to let her board the flight with her violin, apparently because of a discount fare that doesn't allow storage in the overhead bin. But her attorney says Correa's violin is believed to be centuries old, worth thousands of dollars, so she didn't want to leave it with checked luggage. They're also claiming the confrontation left her concerned about a potential hand injury. United says it's reached out to Correa and has given her a refund. Lisa Brady, Fox News.
A federal inmate and his fiancée have pleaded guilty to running an illegal taxi service for inmates at a medium security prison in Atlanta. It brought them to restaurants, hotels, and homes and then returned them to the prison. A Colorado woman gets a rude awakening from a bear with a musical flair.
Okay, so he's no virtuoso. That grisly sound was enough to wake up Katie Hawley, who thought a burglar was breaking into her condo in Vail. That burglar turned out to be a black bear looking for some food and apparently some entertainment.
I left the window unlatched, but it was still shut, so it pried open the window, and that's how it got in.
She was able to watch the critter on her keyboards on her home surveillance camera, which recorded several minutes of tunes. And the video on YouTube has gotten thousands of views. In Denver, Brenda Stewart, Fox News.
A female peacock has ruffled more than a few feathers at an L.A. area liquor store. She flew up to the top shelf of the store and knocked down about $500 worth of champagne and wine bottles. They were some of the most expensive in the store. I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News Radio.
Haunted. A Psychic Story by author and radio host Ariel Grace. This is not your average book of hauntings. Haunted, a Psychic Story is written from a psychic perspective and contains true stories and some handy tips. Written in 3 parts, Haunted, a Psychic Story contains chilling adventures, advice from the archangels, and helpful tips used by Ariel Grace to clear haunted homes around the globe. Haunted, a Psychic Story is available on Amazon, or you can download straight to your Kindle. Haunted, a Psychic Story by Ariel Grace. Get your copy today.
Top of the hour, you're listening to Haunted Voices Radio, live, WGOG Digital Broadcasting. HauntedVoices.com is the place to be. That's HauntedVoices.com. Get in the live chat room that is open. Log in through Facebook, Twitter as a guest. And while you're out there in social media land, be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at HVRHost. Follow the other trillions upon trillions of people that are following us there. We're following too. We have trillions of followers. Nah, we're getting there though, folks. Don't worry. It's a work in progress. Just get over there at HVRHost, the Twitter handle. Of course, you can find us on Facebook, Haunted Voices. But the website, you can find everything you need right there, HauntedVoices.com. That's where you need to be. The new time for you folks just joining us, you're thinking, wait, I thought it was over. No, we're only in the second hour. The new time, we switched that last week, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 6 Pacific. That is the new time for Haunted Voices Radio. Hey, things happen. And, of course, we're speaking with author, mystic, and healer Sonja Grace. Now, the first hour, if you missed it, don't worry. Everything's going to be uploaded here shortly to the media outlets. You'll find those on the website. Sonja Grace, we were discussing dimensions, and now we're going to kind of get into spirit travel and kind of touch on some current events. All kinds of great stuff here coming up this segment. Welcome back to the show. And also joining us is a special surprise co-host, the lovely, I have to say that because she's close enough to hit me right in the face, the lovely, beautiful Ariel Grace, host of A Gang of Girls, of course, is joining us here. She's going to be joining us the second hour. Welcome back to the show, Sonja.
Thank you, and hi, Ariel.
Hi, Sonja. How you doing?
Well, we must be related. We have the same last name.
We do, huh?
I know.
We're the Grace Girls, hey.
That's great.
Hey, everything happens for a reason. I don't know. My last name's Bates. I think that's kind of that's a little off key in itself. That's a whole new show to discuss. But now
that's a whole nother show.
Now, before we got to the latest current events, which we're going to touch on here in just a few minutes, but Spirit Traveler, your latest book, and we need to touch on this here. The term Spirit Traveler. Now, first hour you explained the energy surgeon process, how you would literally be transferring your energy through time and space in front of that person, working on them in an almost physical form. I would say in a physical form, pretty much as close to hands-on as you can get. Now, that's a form of travel right there. But in a sense, in a nutshell, what is spirit travel?
Well, spirit traveling is my way of explaining what happens to me. A lot of people are familiar with astral projecting, and this is not what happens to me. I'm not astral projecting to these places. I'm going into a very deep meditation, and when I go into meditation, my whole body dissolves. It's like there's nothing there. Little particles of, what matter floating off into space. So I dissolve, and and only until that's happened, then my guides come and literally take my hand, and they direct what's going to happen. They direct the spirit travel. They take me to these different sites, and I don't go anywhere without them. And it's very intense for me when I'm there at the site. I'm literally feeling the weather. I'm feeling the coldness of the air or the heat. I am communicating with the beings, the demigods or the star beings that created that site. And when I come back, it's hard. It's like it's hard for me. It takes me a couple of hours even to sort of get back because I feel like I've been gone a long time, because we've literally time traveled back to 10,000 years.
Jeez.
So so in order to go to all of these sites that I went to in my book Spirit Traveler, we went back to when they were created, and most of these sites were created around 8,000 BC.
Whoa.
Mhm.
All right, let's see if we can face some facts here. Now, this has to, let's face it, you're traveling through time, you're doing all these different things out of your body. I mean, this has to cause some kind of side effect or something. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I took my share of Xanax back in the day, and that had its side effects. Does this have any kind of side effects to it? I mean, you're leaving your body.
Sure.
Does it cause harm?
Sure, it does. I'm like Benjamin Buttons. I'm going backwards in time. I'm going to be a baby by the time I die. Sorry, that's my...
No, that's my...
No, I look really young, so it must be doing something good for me. No, I mean, it's, wear and tear. What is wear and tear? I mean, when you understand energy and you're working in energy all day long, it's like your whole perception of time, space, and the world, everything changes. So my whole perception thing has changed, and I'm sort of operating from this other reality, if you will.
That makes sense.
And and like I said, I'm extremely grounded. I teach grounding. I teach meditation. I work with people on this all the time, because so many people are out there trying things, doing things, getting themselves in situations that are really dangerous, and they're running into entities or aliens or whatever, and they don't know what to do. And so, I really teach the foundations of one's safety and well-being while spiritually, going within.
Right.
So I really wanted to share this with you because I was so excited. I was sitting in the movie theater, and I'm watching the trailer for the new Star Wars, The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And, not to spoil anything for anyone, but we all know Luke Skywalker is on this island, and the island happens to be Skellig Michael. And I have a chapter on Skellig Michael in my book, Spirit Traveler. So I know all about Skellig Michael because I spirit traveled there, and I went through all this stuff. And I'm gonna tell you the upshot to the story after I read this to you.
Oh, please do.
Saint Theonan turned to me with a twinkle in his eye. It seems some of the island holds you down while other parts let you go. Okay, and the first part of this is we entered the large oratory. I could see the monks sitting on the ground. There was a strong smell of damp rising from the stone. The light was dim, and the fire burned at the far end, the smoke escaping from a small window. One at a time, the monks appeared to move. As I blinked, trying to clear my focus, suddenly I realized what they were doing. They were levitating. One at a time, with eyes closed in a deep state of meditation, they rose from the ground. And guess what? I'm watching the trailer of that movie, and they talk about everybody levitating on Skellig Michael.
Wow.
That's
okay.
Cool.
So who of those people in Star Wars read my book, Spirit Traveler? That's what I want to know. Nobody else has talked about it.
Had to be Gene Roddenberry. That's you're probably going to be asked. Yeah, the director himself probably did that. He kind of.
I think it was George Lucas. I think he read my book.
Yeah,
really,
but
I have never known anyone to talk about that
specific area
in regards to Skellig Michael. So I was really excited that they were depicting that.
Yeah, you may be contacted soon. Please hold.
Oh, I hope so.
They don't mess around over there either. No, that's good.
Oh, if they call me, I'll call you.
Yeah, please do. I don't care. Yeah, you can just whatever they want. Whatever they want. I've got a few questions here for you regarding the book. Now, first of all, I'm sure you hear this a lot, and people have often wondered. But the guides themselves, what do your guides look like?
My guides are high angelic beings, and they have been with me for all of my lifetimes. I have known these guides, and they have worked with me in every lifetime I've had here on Earth. They are beautiful, high angelic beings, and I don't go anywhere without them. And I certainly, I know there's a lot of people who get real exuberant, like, oh, I'm going to do what Sonja does, and I'm going to spirit travel, and, it's like, really, if I handed you a scalpel, would you do surgery on somebody? We have to really think about what we're doing here.
I tell you what, Sonja, there is no way that I'm going to try it. Trust me, I'm on the third floor right now. I will end up out the window. I mean,
you're funny.
There's just that. There's certain things that everybody has their gifts. Everybody has their niches and their places in this world. That's yours, and you are correct. You do not hand a random person a scalpel and say, "Hey, could you fix my spine up for me?" No.
Exactly.
There's just there's do's and don'ts. But what's your...
in the book, I spirit travel to Stonehenge, and then Skellig Michael, which we talked about, Tiwanaku, the Gate of the Sun, Hagar Quim, which is the island of Malta, right off of Italy, St. Winifred's Well, Chichen Itza, the Temple of Kukulkan, the Caffrey Pyramid, and the Rock of Cashel. The Rock of Cashel's in Ireland as well. Yep. Somebody asked me once, why did you pick these sites? And I literally looked them in the eye and said, I didn't pick them. My guides did.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they picked them, and the reason they picked them was there's a thread that really does go through all of these sites, and that thread has to do with when they were created and why, and how these star beings came through. I call them demigods, and literally helped shape and create a new phase of humanity, which began at the end of Atlantis and Lemuria when they fell. Around 10,000 BC, a new phase began. And the reason people are feeling such pressure, what's my purpose? What I got to figure out who I am spiritually. What am I doing? Is because we're coming to the close of this phase of humanity. And no, it doesn't mean we're all going to die. It just means we're trying to sort of shore things up before we pass the baton on to our children and our grandchildren, who will basically carry on and create another new phase of humanity.
Well, with Spirit Travel, the book itself, I mean, why do you feel people don't want to accept, the evidence of life on other planets? Why do you think that is? Why is everybody so close-minded to that, Sonja?
Well, because I think that it brings up the biggest core wound that everybody shares, and that is separation from Source. The minute we hit physical form, we have that core wound. And that is, I'm separated from God, from Source. And it's because we're in this dense physical form. We have this body now that we have to maneuver, and we've got amnesia on top of it. So we don't know what we're doing. We've got this huge palette of emotions that we're wielding with a paintbrush. Oh, anger, no, fear, no, happiness, joy. It's like we're just all over the place trying to figure out how to maneuver in this form. And so we feel separated from God. I mean, that's the whole crux of it when it comes down to faith and really trusting that, we are not in control here. We do not have control. And, that people don't want to believe in extraterrestrials or other life because it really leaves them feeling afraid, and that that somehow we're really out of control, or we are less than, we are not the superior race of beings that we think we are.
Great answer. Brilliant answer. And when we come back, we're going to be talking more with Sonja. Ariel's going to be popping in here. She's just sitting here. Her jaw's dropped. She's amazed as well. You guys are loving it. Great information. We come back, we're going to talk about Stonehenge, giant skeletal remains. What in the world's that? More about Spirit Traveler and some current events. You guys are really going to love that. All that's coming up. You're listening to Haunted Voices Radio Live, WGOG Digital Broadcasting. We'll be right back.
You're listening to WGOG Digital Broadcasting.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and in 2009 it was me, your fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when one of my embers landed on dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com, brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Hey, y'all, I'm Blake Shelton. I love that country music connects people all over this great nation, but unfortunately, so does something else, childhood hunger. 15 million children struggle with hunger in America. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks works to rescue our surplus food to help provide billions of meals to families in need across the country. Join the fight against hunger at feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans. When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer. When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
The metaphysical. What is it? Are there universal influences assisting us in our daily lives?
Stop counting. Stop counting the bad stuff and stop counting the good stuff, because if you're trying to weigh it out, that's being conditional, and we'll be talking more about conditional love.
Of course. Join your host, Ariel Grace, live Sunday nights, 8, 7 Central, on A Gang of Girls Radio.
People mistake this for setting up boundaries and stuff like that, but it's that scale of, well, if he loves me, he's going to
find answers to relationship issues, your past and future, and some helpful tips on ways you can clear those nasty goo and cooties which interfere with your daily life.
We set aside all of our kind of maybe goo and cooties.
If you're confused and need insight,
express our love for each other,
then look no further than A Gang of Girls radio show with host Ariel Grace. Live Sunday nights, 8, 7 Central at agangofgirls.com.
When a child is abducted, every second counts. That's why this station uses the Internet Radio Amber Alert System, helping to keep your children safe. A free service of the Internet broadcasting community and this station.
The traditional light bulb, a groundbreaking invention in 1879. It's time we switch to longer-lasting Energy Star light bulbs. They're more efficient than old light bulbs, like a text message is more efficient than a carrier pigeon. And they cut down on our energy costs. Because in our own groundbreaking age, we deserve a light bulb that saves us some cash. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
18 minutes past the hour. Haunted Voices Radio Live right here, WGOG Digital Broadcasting. Of course, we're speaking with Sonja Grace. Join us in chat, those of you folks just joining it. If you missed the first part, don't worry. We've got you covered, all the past shows. You can find them right there at hauntedvoices.com. You can also find the other mediums that they're on right there on the website, hauntedvoices.com. And joining us as well, special co-host this evening, Ariel Grace. Her and I don't get to do this very often. Our schedules are crazy, so it's nice to have her come on here for a little bit. Ain't that right?
Yeah.
Now, of course, we're talking with Sonja about all kinds of amazing different things. We were discussing Spirit Traveler, her latest book, of course. Be sure and check out her website, SonjaGrace.com. That's with a J, SONJA, Grace.com. Be sure and check that out. You can find where to get the book and everything. But right now we're kind of discussing it, so the parts of it, some of the places that are listed in there, the amazing stories behind them, her travels. There's so many things that we're going to cover, and we have yet to cover. Current events is one of those. We're going to be touching on that here in a moment. But first, what's this about giant human skeletal remains in Ecuador? The discovery there.
In
what
my
does that tell
spirit
us?
travels, I have experienced going back far enough in time that I have seen various races of giants that existed on Earth. And this was pre-Atlantis and Lemuria. And these, some of them were nice, friendly giants, and some of them were not so nice. And other groups of beings, like up north in the UK, there's different groups of beings, the Tuthaladan and the tribe known as fairies. We think of them as little people, but they're actually a tribe of people, all came through to prevent a particular group of giants coming through to Earth. There's other giants that have been on Earth that are responsible, this is in Egypt and all across the world, for building all the pyramids. All the pyramids across the world were built by this race of beings that we would call giants, because they were very tall, because they wanted to help the humans basically survive a whole bunch of stuff that was going to follow. We talk about the Anunnaki coming. They were not fallen angels. These guys were aliens with the complete package of we're going to enslave humans. And they were a nasty bunch of aliens.
Okay,
and, humans had to survive that.
And we're going to turn on this before we get into current events. The alien life, extraterrestrial life, let's face it gets really deep as well, Sonja. And if anybody can explain their relation to what's going on or what happened in the past, no one could explain that, I don't think, better than you could. Now, with let's face it. I mean, I feel they've been here. I'm sure, I know you feel they've been here, and they still continue to come. What is it about it,
Absolutely.
though? People seem horrified. They're separated from source, as you say, thinking about that extraterrestrial life. But let's face it. If you don't think there's other life out there, that's a little conceited, isn't it?
I think it is. I think it's just, that's a hard pill to swallow when you realize how big the universe is and how many life-supporting planets there are, and who's to even say that some of the alien forms that exist need the same atmosphere and life support that we do. What I'm seeing today is an apathy in the human race. It's sort of this lights on, nobody's home feeling towards things. Like people aren't they feel they're not effective. They feel that they aren't going to make a difference if they do X, Y, or Z. And so much of that is the influence of what I see, which is a tremendous amount of alien activity going on the planet now. And I mean, my God, we've had enough people from NASA and past astronauts come forward and can, finally tell the tale that this is real and this has happened. I'm happy that they're finally stepping forward because I've been saying this for a long time. They're already here and they are affecting people, and that's why we have to be diligent about taking care of ourselves, our energy field, and doing the inner work, understanding that this body is your temple and you are responsible for all the energy that goes on in and around your body. And things like to step into humans, things like aliens like to get a ride, so do entities. There's all kinds of parasitical things out there in the unseen world, just like there are, here on Earth. And your dog has parasites. You have parasites. It's like we forget and we get complacent about how we're doing. And okay, got to get my coffee, and go to work, and come home, walk the dog. And there's this complacency. And on the break we were talking about. I remember being a kid and being so stoked about being alive.
Yep.
I mean, I was just like, yeah, let's go to the woods. We're like running through the woods crazy. And, now you look at kids, hey, why don't you go outside and play? Oh, do we have to?
Oh, I have to be alive? Yeah, it's awful. It's so it's depressing. I've got a 15-year-old, a conversation consists of, how you doing? Good.
Right.
All right. Good catching up with you. It's all they do not. They disconnected from source.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I mean, for the parents who are listening and who are shaking your heads, yes, you totally understand this. Man, I encourage all of you. Pack the car, put the camping gear in, throw the kids in the car, say you're going,
bingo,
and go camping for a weekend even. It's great, and it completely changes the whole energy of what's going on with these kids. I have a girlfriend who takes everybody's phones away. No one can have their phone at night. At 8:00 at night, everybody's phone goes in the basket, and I think it's brilliant because
great idea.
We even us adults, we're way too dependent upon electronics. And my God, if our grid system ever goes down, which is really the big prediction of what could happen if we are in war. None of us have phones. None of us have cars. None of us have electricity. And I think that's a really good place to start.
No, and it is.
Okay, so how are we... Let's be resourceful. How are we all going to survive something like that?
Most couldn't. There's no way. They wouldn't know what to do. I mean, especially the millennials. They would panic. They would freak. And that's why all of this ties in together. Every single thing that we've discussed tonight, all of it ties into this because this is now. Like you said, we've moved into the fifth dimension.
That's why I wrote
Here comes the
Spirit
change.
Traveler, is because I think it's so important for people to really know the truth of where we came from, what the origins are of these places, and how these different groups of humans cross-pollinated with star beings, with demigods, and became the groups of people that we are today. That's why it's important to me that people know the truth of where they came from so that we can start to wake up all of that past history and remember who we are and why we're here, and that it was our job to take care of this planet. That's why we all came here.
And that makes it, the way you explain it, It does. It makes complete sense now because let's face it, this entire world, it's filled with chaos right now, and people create their own chaos. That's the problem. We're human. We have issues, okay? We have some things that your best psychiatrist or pill cannot repair. We have some irreparable people out there. But we create our own chaos. We seem to, right now, I mean, these days, we seem to thrive on it. Without it, we do not know how to react. Because we're instant gratification. When we have breaking news, we want to know the entire story, who did it, who wrapped it up, and, you know, if they were arrested before they even committed the crime. That's how quick people think these days, and that's the problem. And that causes conflict all around the world because everybody wants to be in the know. Everybody wants to know. They want to be first. They never want to be second. They want to be the most powerful, you know. And that's where I'm going to skip this into current events because, you know, all politics aside, that's not going to happen on this show, folks, so don't worry about that. But, you know, you have your chaos out there. You've got threats of nuclear war. You've got terrorism. You know, take London, for example. What's your take on London?
Okay, well, I'm going to answer that question, but I'm going to go back to the irreputable people.
Go ahead.
Because I think that is the most important part of all of this, because we are going to talk about London or terrorism or, you know, some of the really bad things that are happening out in the world. When people come to me and say, Sonja, what about Hitler? Like, how can you, what do you have to say about someone who is that horrible, that has done these horrible, horrible things? You know, I mean, we don't need to review World War II and, you know, the killing of 6 million Jews. But the point is that everybody out there in the world is a soul, an infinite soul that comes from God, okay? Everybody has an infinite soul inside of them. The corruption happens when we are in a situation that is certainly karmically born, and there is corruption within that situation. The child is being abused, they're being neglected, they're being punished, they're being physically abused. All of these things are taking place, causing a corruption in what would normally have been, you know, a person who's just dealing with stuff that they struggle with and go through their life. So all of those struggles become amplified, and as that child grows up, it becomes corrupt. It turns into a cancer. And now they really are hateful and angry, and they want to punish everybody because they were punished when they were little. That's the answer to all of these people that we can point at and say, what about this one? What about this one? What about these guys who killed these people? What about these people? They're all extremely wounded, corrupted human beings that you know, obviously at this point, God, the universe, you know, all the powers that be need to intervene and help. But, you know, when my sister got really upset with me because I told her I watched that prison show all the time, you know, where it's live and they're interviewing guys in prison. She goes, God, why do you watch that? It's so gross. I mean, those guys are so awful. I said, because I'm working on them while I'm watching the show. I work on those guys because those are the people that really need help.
Right.
You know, and that, I mean, here's everybody's big dose of compassion. You know, we gotta really find our compassion so that we can better understand how the human form and the spirit within it gets corrupt and gets so sideways that it's no longer acting on its own, you know, on its own track.
Yeah, you said the key word right there, compassion. And what's sad is, I mean, so few people use that anymore. I mean, that's probably going to be removed from Webster's dictionary before you know it. It's that bad. It's that bad. People just don't even use it.
No, I know. And this whole thing that happened in London is really, really sad. I was just in London. In fact, I came home from London 2 days after the Ariana Grande concert happened.
Oh, wow.
And you know, I was really shaken by it because I went through that part of London, and you know, I went into restaurants where there's lots of people and busy, crowded streets, and you know, I feel sad. I feel sad for the world because until we come to a place where we can all recognize we're in this together, We're all in this together. There's no other magic planet that we're going to fly off to and go live on and create a new colony. We're in this together on Earth, and we have to start acting like we're in this together. This whole separation, and this wound I talked about, where we all have this core wound of being separated from Source. We're also experiencing duality, what's good and bad, right and wrong, hot and cold, splitting apart, because we're in a higher vibration now. And in 100 years, we won't have a dualistic reality. Dualism will not even exist, because we're transforming so fast in this higher frequency. So what this means is how we've all gone outside of ourselves to measure things. Oh, yeah, he's good. Oh, no, she's bad. Oh, no, that's good. No, that's bad. We go outside of ourselves to measure it. That's no longer going to work. We have to go within. We have to trust that measuring system that is innately inside our soul body. And when we can start really accessing that deeper system within ourselves that we carry all the time and feel, yeah, that works. No, that doesn't work. Well, that feels a little off right now. Well, that feels right. Then we will be able to step out of dualism and literally observe and watch and really let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, letting it go. That seems to be the key word right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, it feeds into chaos. People don't want to let things go. Now, I'm guilty of that myself. Don't get me wrong. There's things that I hold on to. I don't know why. They just stay there. I want to let them go, but I don't know how. So that's
and part of that is our deeper fear of really being able to trust that it's going to work out. Right now people can look out into the world in the future and like we were just talking about young people going, yeah, do I really have to get a job and have a bank account? I want to just stay home. It's like there's this real gloomy kind of attitude about the future. And I'm here to blow the horn, man, and say, look, our future is up to us. And if we can all pull together with a whole lot of compassion and love and understanding for one another, we can create a really, really fantastic future.
Yeah,
but the problem is we're coming to the end of this phase of humanity, and we've been here before, and we have dealt with all kinds of conflicts and misunderstandings and separation from Source with war. That's how we've done it, all through the fourth dimension. So we're at that point right now, and we're going, oh, okay, well, are we going to do it like we did it before? Or are we going to stay with the old trend and just do it again and just, blow the whole thing up and we'll go somewhere else? I say no. I say we all have the responsibility within us to really, really be accountable for our thoughts, for what we want for the future, and how we are treating one another.
I agree. And I think whether we like it or not, we're all going to change. Whether we like it or not, it's something that's inevitable. You can't stop it. It's a, like you said, it's a transition. We have to evolve, and that's all part of evolution. The human condition. I mean, trust. You mentioned the key word right there, and I didn't even think about it until, trust. That's a powerful trusting the future. It seems like everybody, the entire planet, sitting back waiting for somebody else to do it for them. It's exactly. It's like the brakes went on, and that's a massive trust issue. You're very, very, very correct in saying that, because I'm guilty of it.
People don't have. They feel ineffective for the most part, because many people sit and think, well, what can I do? I work in an office, or I'm changing tires at a Les Schwab. It's like people don't have the foresight to think that they actually can be a part of the change, when in fact everybody is a part of the change. everybody's energy is on board. And if your energy is low and you're really down in the glooms and you're really feeling like, nothing's going to change and the world's just going to hell in a handbasket, then that's your contribution, and that's not happening. Right?
What's the saying? You get back what you put out, right?
That's right.
And I mean, we're all guilty of it. I mean, I know I am. I've got my little, down with it. You had those little things, and you get frustrated, trust. But that's the thing. All of this, and that's why we had you on for these 2 hours, is to get everybody in line with this. It is very important that these things start right now. We all know there's chaos out there. We all know it's crazy.
Realize that the work that you do on the inner, the processing and understanding the wounded inner child, talking to that inner child, really doing the work. I mean, this is what I do with my clients day in and day out. I work on them. I do inner processing and inner child work with them. I work on them physically, doing healing work. I work on them spiritually, mentally, physically. It's like if we do the work, then we are doing our part. But if we sit back complacent and say, "Oh yeah, it's all going to hell," and we're not going to really make a difference, then you're not doing your part.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry, I just got on my horse. I'm galloping. Can you hear me?
No. These are things that need to be said because, I mean, sure, we've been discussing some of the ancient sites, some of the past and things, how all of this evolved, the alien existence, separation from source, all these different things we've discussed all ties into right now. I mean, the transition itself. Move into a higher vibration.
If we look at all of these sites here in
sense.
Spirit Traveler, and we look at what was the fall, what happened at Chichen Itza, what happened to those people, those Mayan people, why did they start killing all their people and sacrificing them? It's because people feel separated from Source. Yep. They felt that if they sacrificed this person and this person and this person, the gods would return.
Right, yes.
That's the whole thing, is if we can get back to an understanding that if we trust and we really have that faith inside of us that we are not alone, that we are very much watched after, and that they are there looking after us, that your ancestors are there keeping an eye on you, then it's much easier to proceed forward into the future.
Trust and fear. I mean, those are great keywords right there. Mm-hmm. I mean, and these are things that have to be overcome. We all have to work on them, and it all starts with you right here, right now. That's why we're of course, having Sonja on here. And when we come back, we're going to be, of course, wrapping things up with her, discussing more, taking any final questions or comments you may have. We're going to get to the bottom of this, and hopefully these things start to change. It all starts with you folks. You're listening to Haunted Voices Radio Live right here, WGOG Digital Broadcasting. We'll be right back.
WGOG DB Clearwater.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and in 2009 it was me, your fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when one of my embers landed on dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com, brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
When it comes to saving money, don't act like a baby. Goo goo gaga. Be the boss and make a budget.
I'm the boss, baby.
You're the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
Are not.
M2.
Are not.
M2.
Need a little help?
Aren't you going to do any work?
I'm very busy delegating.
Create a personalized savings plan.
We can share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
And get other tools and tips at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Get lost in the realm of thrilling mystery with the Mojo series by Chris Cedarstein. Follow 6 small-town teenagers who decide to make a ghost hunting documentary and become blindly thrown into a world of haunting chills they were not expecting in Lost Mojo. Or follow college student Scotty Brown, who is aggressively haunted by vivid nightmares and daytime apparitions. As he begins to search for answers, he puts himself and those closest to him face to face with pure evil. Can he he defeat these malevolent beings with a small team of paranormal investigators? Find out in her second title, Mojo. The Mojo series is available on paperback or digital download on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and wherever books are sold. The Mojo series by Chris Cedarstein. Get your copies today if you've got the mojo. Haunted, a psychic story by author and radio host Ariel Grace. This is not your average book of hauntings. Haunted, a psychic story is written from a psychic perspective and contains true stories and some handy tips. Written in 3 parts, Haunted, a psychic story contains chilling adventures, advice from the archangels, and helpful tips used by Ariel Grace to clear haunted homes around the globe. Haunted, a psychic story is available on Amazon, or you can download straight to your Kindle. Haunted, a psychic story by Ariel Grace. Get your copy today.
"43 minutes past the hour. Haunted Voices Radio Live. WGOG Digital Broadcasting. Yeah, you can still get into chat, folks. HauntedVoices.com. Log in through Facebook, Twitter as a guest. Get into the live chat. It's a lot of fun in there. You can do video, talking, and things with each other, and little pictures, and fun little trinket stuff. Little emoticons. All that stuff's in there. And, of course, we're speaking with Sonja Grace and co-hosting. She's getting in there. She's loving the show. Ariel Grace is with us here as well. My lovely better half. Definitely better half. She's joining us here for the second hour. She's loving Sonja to death. This is an amazing conversation. You guys are really starting to understand, I think, what's going on in the world. We all are. This is it's a wake-up call, and you've got to look at it that way. Now, of course, be sure, visit her website, SonjaGrace.com. That's with a J, SONJA, Grace.com. And we're going to wrap some things up here. We're going to have Sonja discuss her book, get that out some more, and that way you folks know where you can get your copy, and you just may screw up and learn something from all these ancient sites. It's really amazing information. We love having her on the show. Now, Sonja, if you would, tell everybody where they can get the book. Can they get it through your website? Where is it available? All the good stuff about the book Spirit Traveler.
Sure. You can get my book, Spirit Traveler, on my website, Sonja, SONJA, Grace, GRACE.com. You can also order it on Amazon. It's published by Findhorn Press, and it is a must-read because I give both the actual history of what we know thus far about these sites, and then I share my spirit travels. So when you read the book, you can weigh for yourself, like what you know is the history and what my experience was. I think it's really important to share the truth about the past, because so much of history has been recorded based on what religion or political figure was in charge. All of these things got determined based on those two cultures, religion and politics. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
I wanted to unravel that and basically give a very clear scope of what happened, void of those influences. I mean, you'd be amazed, 2,000 years after something happened at the Great Pyramids, some Greek philosopher said, oh, yeah, Khafre, he was a horrible person, and, he did this, this, and this. Well, really? Wow, 2,000 years later, you're going to report on this guy in the Great Pyramids. That's what I'm talking about, is people would say things in order to shape what they wanted for their political gain. And it's so important to me that people have the truth. Very important.
I agree, and it is. Get out your contact information too. Social media they can find everything on the website, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah, my fan page on Facebook is Mystic Healer Sonja Grace, and I've got a Twitter account, Sonja Grace Guide, and you can follow me on Instagram, Sonja Grace Guide. I've got 2 really cool events coming up. One is called Earth Circle Meditation Retreat. It's here in Oregon. It's very rustic. It's outdoors. It's really connecting with Earth energy and really understanding all the circular energy of Earth energy through meditation. It's October 5th through 8th. And then in November, I'm going to be a part of the Ancient Mysteries Revealed cruise, and myself and a bunch of really cool people, Mayan elders and all kinds of fun people in my industry are going to be on this cruise November 11th through the 18th, going down the Pacific coast of Mexico. And I'm going to be discussing my book, Spirit Traveler, doing a workshop and doing personal sessions on the ship. So come sail with me.
Oh, wow.
That'll be fun.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, that's going to be a lot of fun. And one last thing before we let you go. What I want you to do, if you would. Now, everybody's listening. What is something people can do to kind of become more present and to prepare themselves for this change? What's something they can do, in your opinion?
Well, I think meditation is the most important thing that any of us can do, because it takes us back inward into ourselves and into the process of understanding our emotional wounds. And emotional wounds are really what our karma is and what we've brought through all these lifetimes. So just going outside, or even in your house or your apartment, wherever you live, feel the bottom of your feet opening up, feel the top of your head opening up, and just imagine a beautiful river of water running down through your body, down your legs, out your feet into the ground, down your arms, out your hands into the ground, and let it wash away anything that doesn't need to be there. That's thought forms, illness, anything that you don't want there in your body. Just let it wash deep into the earth. She can take it. And then imagine a beautiful river, whatever color you want, just coming down and filling up your whole body. Just doing this on a daily basis helps not only your adrenals and your whole glandular system, but it will help you to get aligned with the earth, and it will help you to release the things that you don't need and to make way for more of that, energy coming down from the cosmos and the earth energy coming up through your feet. Because remember, it's a riot in the heart. That's where those two energies meet, and that's where we create. That's where we have compassion and love and forgiveness.
Well said.
Beautiful.
Definitely take that advice, folks. Do not take Phil's advice. Do not go to Walmart and get the Tibetan monk correspondence course. That is not going to change anything. He's doing that to make himself look good on paper. Definitely follow what Sonja just said. That was amazing. That made sense. That was. Well said. And Sonja, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on here, adjusting for the time change. We always love having you on here, and you're going to be back.
Oh, I'd love to be back. I just love being here. And please, listeners, you guys sign up for my free Earth Angel, because it's really great. I send out a super-duper message every week, and it helps get your whole week going.
And they can sign up right there on the website for that, Sonja Grace?
Right on the website,
Perfect.
Right on the homepage. It's called Earth Angel. Mm-hmm.
Hey, couldn't hurt, folks. Get over there, sign up for it. It's easy enough. This is one of those things. She's not going to sell your email.
No. For heaven's sake.
There's people out there in this world that do not do that. And I definitely believe Sonja's one of them. So don't worry. Your email's safe over there. Sign up for it. Get the message. It's something positive. Definitely do it.
Yeah.
We need that in our life.
Thanks again.
You bet, Sonja. Yeah. Thank you so much. We're going to be in touch with you real soon.
Thank you. You guys have a great evening.
You do the same.
Okay.
Sonja Grace, folks. Definitely check out the website, sonjagrace.com. That's with a J, by the way. SONJA. What'd you think of that?
That was pretty cool.
That was a different perspective on a lot of things. The chaos. You agree with that, right?
Yes.
Fit's hitting the shan out there.
Yes. It is.
And people seem to be basking in it. They're grabbing their ladles and their towels and soaking it up and just drenching it all over themselves. Now we know why. Trust.
Yeah, it's a trust issue.
It makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It is. People are acting in separation. And when they act in separation, this is the kind of stuff that happens. But when you're connected to Source and all that, then, there's no issues, right?
See, that's what I love about it. You get a different perspective with each one of these guests. There's no right way, there's no wrong way, there's a way, folks. Let's face it, no one has the absolutes. If they did, we wouldn't have a show like this because we would know the answer already.
Right.
So you've got to definitely take the advice of Sonja. You know, if you don't agree with it, fine, agree to disagree. But you got to admit that was some pretty convincing things. Yes, it got pretty deep there. That's why we had her on here for 2 hours and to explain that to you. Now, Phil's going to be back next week. Don't worry, he's fine. He's doing just fine. That I can promise you. But also remember, next week, you're going to love this. Harold Roth. Now, he's a practicing witch. Now, I thought they called male witches warlocks. And I'm going to ask him that question. What's the difference? Because I always thought male witches were warlocks. I don't know. So there may be something different. But Harold Roth is going to be joining us first hour. Second hour, we're going to be having the Gettysburg Ghost Gals. Now, these three women, they were...
Oh, cool.
They were going to be cast in the Ghostbusters movie. For the new Ghostbusters movie, all the
really?
girls. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they were going to be cast in that. We're going to find out what happened, why they weren't. Did they say, no, we're not going to do Hollywood? You never know. Gettysburg Ghost Gals, all that's next week. We're going to have them second hour. We're going to hear some of the creepy tales going on there in Gettysburg. Got to love that. Now, be sure and follow us on Twitter, HVR Host. We'll follow you back. That's what we do. That's why it's all nice and balanced out there. Also, the Facebook fan page, just search for us there, Haunted Voices. We post things there every once in a while. Not that much, though. Facebook sucks. Now, what we do have coming up is that contest. Be sure, subscribe to us on iTunes. It's very important. It's free of charge. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Give us an honest review. 1 star, 5 star, doesn't matter. As long as it's honest, just listen to one of it. Give us an honest review. You have your chance to win the $50 gift card. Now, this gift card